Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's where you'll find our revolutionary blueprint course. There's only one place that you can go from zero to hero over a weekend by watching the incredible blueprint. It's everything you'll need to be that $1 million agent. Prospecting, listing, negotiation, and growth. Broken up into short 15-minute pieces, skip to the content you need now or watch from the beginning to end. Only on Josh Phegan Digital.
Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, we're going to talk about a really important question, and this is about like what we go to call the power of brand. And a lot of agents don't necessarily understand brand, but I think about it, it's more about like customer experiences, key things that you do, how you photograph properties, how you video them, all the materials, but then also too, how you deliver your customer experience. When someone turns up at an open, how you call someone back, what it is that you do. And you have this weird conversation that people believe that a certain brand can't list certain types of property. And I think that's often very much a strategy thing, because we've seen some brands that are in and around Sydney eastern suburbs that do incredibly well, yet in other markets they can't do the top end, but yet here they do it very, very well. What is the power of brand? Do you think that people literally call you in because you're PPD? Do you think they call you in because it's Alexander Phillips? Is it often a good mixture of both? Did you help to build PPD, or did PPD help to build some of the agents that work more broadly across the business?
Thanks, Ross. It's a mix of all of that. I think all agents have their own personal brand and a perception in the marketplace who they are. You could explain who we are pretty easily, I think, in the perception of us in the marketplace. And the issue is with perception is not always right.
Yes.
And you can be put into a box.
Yes.
And then you're sort of a bit stuck in that unless you change that perception. And a lot of that has got to come down to your belief internally when you go sit down with a potential client that is out of your box. Mm-hmm. And how you prepare for that and change it. So you might actually change tack on which marketplace you're going to, price point, up or down or different suburb, how you deal with it, how you deal with a buyer when they come through or the vendor when you're dealing with them. So then you're all of a sudden opening up a different marketplace. Mm-hmm. So if you're prepared like really well in listing appointments, you know the streets, you drive around the streets. Like I get my guys when they book in appraisals, they give me, I said, what do you think it's worth? And I go, X. I said, why don't you drive past it? And they always, when they drive past, it's very different.
Yes.
Because they might not know the street that well, could be a little bit out of the area. I do the same too. Like we did one the other day in a quiet street in Bondi Junction. We haven't seen much there, but I drove past and went, okay, that's different than what I thought. So, and the good thing is with the brand like us, PPD, and how we've helped grow agents is all the data's at their hands. So if someone's going to a house in Bronte, they can switch my name out on those brochures and say, these are the ones that we've sold. It's all in the delivery. Mm. We've sold this, I've sold that. Alex sold this, but he's got buyers, he'll bring them in. But if you've done good research and you've got like a top buyer list and you've talked about other sales in the street and you actually look like a trusted advisor on knowing the ins and outs and where the bus route is and the shopping centre and whatnot, it does allow you to do a lot more and grow your marketplace.
So you hear agents go, I only do apartments and I can never break into the housing market. Or, hey, I'm doing houses and I don't want to be known as an apartment agent. Or I only do like low-end stuff, or I only do high-end stuff. And I think that like even in your career, you've had moments where, oh my God, I'm going after a $10 million listing. And at that point, you'd never listed or sold something for $10 million. Mm. And then now that's broaching other numbers like 20 and possibly even 30 million on some of those things. But yet we still see you out to a studio apartment for $400,000 up in Potts Point or one of those types of things, or Darlinghurst at some different points in time. How have you been able to do that your brand isn't too pigeonholed? Like surely the $400,000 vendor says you're too expensive, or you're not the sort of agent who does this sort of stuff because you're doing the $20 million stuff. And surely the $20 million vendor goes, oh, what are you doing those small ones when you could be doing ours? Like how do you have that combo?
It's having care, having the belief that you're looking after the client's biggest asset, if it's $500,000 or $50 million. Mm-hmm. And respecting that and not being arrogant in any way. And like for me, we've got an apartment going on the market this week. It's $1 million. Mm-hmm. We sold a house this week for 10.6. We sold one for 1.7 and everything in between. Mm-hmm. But it's explaining to that vendor, and it's also the mindset you've got, that it's the same dedication, same care, same desire you got to help everyone in those various price ranges.
And the big thing for me is that like the amount that you listen and then the amount that you write before you speak is unbelievable to watch. And I've often seen you, like, later on, here's the notepad from that listing prezzo, and you're like, got all these notes that you've scratched out. But you really want to understand that particular situation and understand what to do next to alleviate the pain and what to do to give them confidence to want to go and do it today. And I think that's the big conversation, is that how do you make sure that you're super relevant to where people are at? And your brand can traverse up and down, but you've got the same brand standards, that you actually want the best properties in each price range in the way they're presented and how they're marketed.
Correct.